A first look at Soviet war machines. When we think about World War II, our minds often jump straight to tanks crashing through mud and snow. But today, we're taking a first look at something even bigger. We're talking about every kind of Soviet vehicle that rolled, crawled, floated, or flew its way across the largest battlefield in human history. From freezing forests to ruined cities, the Red Army relied on a massive mix of machines to survive and push forward. This wasn't about fancy designs or comfort. It was about toughness, speed of production, and vehicles that could keep moving even when everything else fell apart. So as we begin, let's step into the smoke, snow, and steel and see how the Soviet Union kept its war machine moving. Tanks, the heart of Soviet power. Let's start where most people expect, with Soviet tanks, because these machines became symbols of raw strength and survival. Early in the war, the Soviets relied on lighter tanks like the T-26 and the BT series, which were fast but lightly protected. They struggled badly when Germany invaded in 1941. But then came the moment that changed everything. The T-34 arrived, and suddenly the balance shifted. With sloped armor, wide tracks for snow and mud, and a powerful gun, the T-34 shocked German forces. It wasn't perfect, but it was reliable and could be built fast. Later on, heavy tanks like the KV series and the IS tanks appeared, built to smash through defenses and duel enemy armor head-on. These tanks didn't just fight battles, they carried Soviet morale forward. Trucks and transport, the unsung heroes. As we move forward, it's important to remember that wars aren't won by tanks alone. The Soviet Union depended heavily on trucks to move troops, supplies, fuel, and wounded soldiers. Early on, many Soviet trucks were simple and rugged, like the GAZ-AA, often overloaded and driven non-stop on terrible roads. As the war continued, American Lend-Lease trucks like the Studebaker became incredibly important. These vehicles helped artillery units move faster and allowed the Red Army to stay mobile during major offensives. Without trucks, even the strongest tank army would grind to a halt, and the Soviets understood this lesson the hard way. Armored cars and half-tracks, eyes and speed. Between tanks and trucks, the Soviets also used armored cars for scouting and quick strikes. Vehicles like the BA series were lightly armored but fast, perfect for reconnaissance and security duties. They weren't meant to fight tanks, but they helped commanders understand what was happening ahead of the main force. Half-tracks were less common in Western armies, but they still played a role in moving infantry alongside armor. These vehicles filled the gap between protection and speed, keeping soldiers closer to the fight without slowing everything down. Artillery vehicles, guns on the move. As the war dragged on, the Soviets became masters of mobile firepower. Self-propelled guns like the Su-76, Su-85, and ISU-152 mounted massive cannons on tracked vehicles. These machines were used to destroy bunkers, enemy tanks, and fortified positions. Some were even nicknamed beast killers for their ability to knock out German heavy tanks. By mounting artillery on vehicles, the Red Army could move guns quickly and strike hard, then keep pushing forward without stopping. Air and support vehicles, behind the scenes. Beyond the battlefield front lines, countless other vehicles kept everything running. Jeeps, motorcycles, ambulances, engineering vehicles, and recovery trucks worked day and night. Motorcycles carried messages when radios failed. Engineers used specialized vehicles to build bridges and clear mines. Even tractors were adapted to tow guns and equipment. In the airfields, service vehicles kept Soviet aircraft fueled and repaired, proving that war is won as much by support as by firepower. Conclusion. Why it all mattered. As we step back and look at the full picture, one thing becomes clear. Soviet vehicles in World War II weren't built to impress, they were built to endure. They were simple, tough, and produced in staggering numbers. More than 100,000 T-34s alone were built, a number that tells the story better than any speech ever could. Together, tanks, trucks, armored cars, and support vehicles formed a moving wall of steel that pushed from Moscow to Berlin. And that's why, when we talk about Soviet victory in World War II, we're really talking about the machines that never stopped rolling forward.